And literally, I've seen no one come up with this deck. No one doing anything with it. So I thought it was like cool to show you guys. He's permanently locked out of spells, permanently locked out of traps, and any monster he tries to play is getting tributed. Hello, mighty and fine citizens of Fat Zoid Gaming community. We are here with something that will give you a little kick. Now, I know you guys are looking at me and saying, Fat Zoid, that Extra Zero Festival sucks a fat one. And I would say, you're playing the wrong deck. Now, if you remember, I'm a big fan of Diablos. And guess what deck is running wild in Master Duel right now? Yeah, you get it. It's Flonderies, and it's running rapid in this tournament as well. This little festival. So, we put in Ghost Ogres. We had Max C originally in this deck. Take those out, put Ghost Ogres. You need the Ashes. We need cards to counter Adventurer and to counter Flonderies. So, why is this deck so good at doing well against Flonderies? I'm going to tell you one exact reason. Eradicator, Epidemic Virus. So one big thing that you notice about this festival, barely anyone's running back roll removal, right? And if they are, it's like one Harpy's Feather Duster. Who gives a shit, right? Dude, Eradicator Epidemic Virus absolutely hoses their deck. And you might be like, I don't see how it does. If you lock them out of spells, that means they don't get their spell that sends cards to the graveyard. They don't get their field spell, right? And with this deck, you can actually get to board states that we're going to end up seeing that you can just keep recycling the Epidemic Virus over and over and over. There are some games I play Epidemic Virus 8 times. Think how crazy that is. 8 times getting Epidemic Virus, and we win by deck out. That's hilarious to me. So, if you want to play a grindy, long, but fun match of Yu-Gi-Oh! And very interactive, when I say interactive, interactive for us, play this deck. And you're going to see some games, and viewer discretion is advised, because it's going to be a rough one out there, my little goblins. Hello, my little goblins. Look how delicious this hand is. We're playing against Mark. Come on. So, we get shifted, and we do this mainly to just get a token, because we already had another one in hand. So, they play Robin. They get Barrier Statue, which tells me they have Eagle in hand. Easy as peasy, right? We're still cruising this game, right? We're cruising. Cruising for a bruising. He goes into M-Pin, which is like, okay. He's still not done summoning, though, so I don't want to activate Eradicator Virus yet, because I want to see what also he puts in his hand. So, he ends up putting the Trap in his hand, and he summons Barrier, and then we're just Epidemic Virus. We're going to see what traps, because he got one at least. We destroy both of his traps. Boom. That's one Epidemic Virus. And like I said, this deck churns them out. And if it doesn't churn them out, it's pretty brutal. It gets pretty brutal. Again, if we're locked out of special summons, this deck doesn't do that many special summons. Besides Heavenly Prison and Diablos, most of the deck is just you normal summon and then use your opponent's monsters for sacrificing. And you also have to remember, both the Lady of Lamance, they're both quick effects. So we can tribute whenever we want. But never tribute. With this deck, you do not want to be tributing when they're doing these summons, because we don't have a way of stopping the summon itself. So we're just waiting. And one thing we're waiting for is, honestly, I should have trap tricked here for Eradicator Virus early, just so we can call spells. But we're just going to hold it, because we know we're going to get other options. So, this is the whole point of this deck that you want to do. When you play against Flonderies, is there's a few ways of winning. You either outgrind them, and you just overwhelm their board, the board state. Or if they have all their cards, it's impossible to overwhelm the board state. You're going to get rid of every single tributed monster that they have in their deck just by grinding it out and just using Lair of Darkness to fill their board with tokens. It's actually hilarious. And they cannot do anything about it because they can't. There's no way for them to get their cards back. It's not like they're running like other cards to get out of that situation. So here we're playing more aggressive because our opponent's on a really big back foot. And we still have the trap trick to combo off. So we're sitting pretty right now. We're sitting pretty. This is going to be, I believe, the last turn of the Epidemic. Mark concedes. He drew Shifter, big L. And that's pretty much how you do it. All right, we're going to be showing this game second because this one isn't like a 30-turn game. This guy is playing Card of Fate. He has a pretty wacky deck, which is interesting. Remember, these games are in Diamond. So, it is what it is. But he's running like an Adventurer, Sorcerer deck, which I thought was kind of weird. I just wanted to showcase the deck strengths. So, the reason why we run Ghost Ogre, very good against Fateful Adventurer. But better lucky than good because he already had Griffin Rider in his hand. Boom. Our hand is pretty good, though. It's pretty damn good. Like, if we're being honest right now, I mean, we have that Card of Demise refuel. We top deck another Ghost Ogre. So if you know how Griffin works, Griffin, if it's destroyed by Ghost Ogre, it actually cancels the effect. So, there's another reason why Ghost Ogre is so good. So look at this. Akari just gets smoked out of the game right now. That's a rough one. Because now we get to tribute their token. We're getting our epidemic virus to start causing quite the genocide on our opponent. And the reason why we attack here is because we want to flip the card face up. Because we can't tribute cards if they're not face up. So now, we tribute our own card for Darkest Diabolus. So we can special summon it and then sack it to Eradicator Virus. And we're calling... It sounds stupid, and you might be like, why would you call spell cards? Because if this guy top decks a Harpy's Feather Duster, or some type of back row removal, we just lose pretty much half of our shit, or most of our stuff. So we call spell first because we can rebuild. We have back to the front. So this is why back to the front's really good. Because now we get the Lady Lamont with 2k attack, which is pretty nice. This deck is awesome. Like, I'm telling you right now, yeah, the games are a bit longer, but they're also super fun. So, kind of worth it. We got Ice Dragon Prison. We flip up Trap Trick. Boom. We get Epidemic Virus down. We're going to use that. We're going to summon the Lord of Heavenly Prison. We're going to beat this guy's head in because this guy's going to allow him to get a spell or trap. So now I get to make a decision about how I use the Eradicator Virus. Right? So we pop it. Pop both his traps. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you have... another thing I want you guys to know. If you have Lord of Heavenly Prison activated... So it's protecting set cards. It will not destroy set cards. So just remember that when you're using the effect with Epidemic Virus. Because it's going to be a pretty big fail on your part if that's the case. But I really wanted to get this video out because I'm super excited about this deck. Because it's actually really good. Has a very, very good win rate. And most of the decks I was playing was Floateries. Which we'll be seeing more of those. And... we're just going to pop him immediately. He's going to be able to special summon something face down. And honestly, we're just getting random traps at this point. We don't want to fill our trap board completely. We don't have the full lock. I remember I told you guys about a lock where you get to spam Epidemic Virus. The lock is with Malice. So Malice lets you lock out your opponent. So the way Malice works, right? You tribute 2 monsters, right? And then target one of your normal traps that is banished or in the graveyard. And set that target. So we can get even the banished targets. And when I use this copy, it goes back into my deck. So we actually win deck outs. So even if we're not going to be going deck out with this opponent. But even if we were going opponent like deck outs with them, we win the deck out war. Another thing that's very strong is placing tokens for your opponent is actually really annoying because if they don't have ways of tributing it, since there's no extra deck, which is a normal way people would get rid of, the extra deck is a normal way people get rid of tokens. They can link summon them off and all this other. There's no extra deck, so tokens. If you don't have a way of getting rid of them, they just sit there. And guess what? If they just sit there, you can just do whatever you want. Look how crazy this is. I'm literally spamming Eradicator Epidemic Virus. It's so nuts. And literally, I've seen no one come up with this deck. No one doing anything with it. So I thought it was like cool to show you guys. He's permanently locked out of spells, permanently locked out of traps, and any monster he tries to play is getting tributed. Like, GG. And then he's dead. Because on top of these cards being really annoying, these tokens, the damage adds up. Alright, time to go into one of the long hauls. We're going to be fast forwarding through a good portion of this video. We activate Lord of Heavenly Prison because, like I said, the card's amazing, by the way. Like, how good is this card? Just protects our back row completely. We're going to stop Robin. And you guys might be saying that Solemn Judgment is a little sussy. But now I get to do this. Get our card Demise. He Harpies Feather Dusters. I get triggered. So look how behind we are right now. I want you guys to see this. Right? But guess what? His hand was like nothing special, right? He has like a DD Crow in there. And we get rid of spells. So when you get rid of spells versus this type of archetype, they need spells most of the time, right? They need spells to be able to find their level 1 threats. And by the way, when you saw, I didn't even know this was a thing, but when you Solemn Flonderies Robin, it sends it to the graveyard, which is huge. So that means if he top decks like another Flonderies, like Eaglin or something, it's not going to let him get his Robin back. That's pretty big to know. So we just start beating his ass with Malice. Our hand is like horrible. I mean, what is this? We got an Ash Blossom. Pods is up. Goodbye. Bye, Pot. Our opponent can just end. Now that's the end of Epidemic Virus. Eradicator Virus. Which is a little scary. But now we have Lair of Darkness. We can play a little crazier. And we have Ash Blossom. So the reason why we didn't set Ash Blossom to try and do some plays is because if he summons Robin, it's better to just Ash Blossom the Robin. You know? Like, why am I going to sit there trying to tribute it when I could just Ash Blossom it? I kind of do wish I set one of these because I believe he top decks the field spell literally right after he's off of the thing, which is kind of annoying. So he gets really lucky here. But this is what I'm trying to point. Our opponent is getting lucky on every single like point in this game, right? It's undeniable. They're getting pretty lucky on all these points. He had the one of Harpy's Feather Duster and all this other stuff right in the beginning of the game. But we're going to be able to come back. We stopped the Robin. Stopping the Robin's big. Stops full combo. Because he had nothing else in his hand. Because this guy fucked up too. He activated Robin's effect. I mean, we were going to stop regardless. But he activated Robin's effect. That's kind of annoying. So this guy, when he used his Toucan, right? The Toucan went to go grab Robin, but then he activated Robin's effect, so he had to waste his normal summon on Robin. You guys understand what I'm saying? I hope you do, because if the Toucan's effect doesn't go off, he doesn't get the normal summon. So we get some tokens, even though we didn't get our Epidemic Virus. That's completely fine. I'm telling you right now, that's so fine. This guy finds the Eaglin. So he's going to be able to combo off. Kind of annoying. But remember, M-Pin, right? The main boss monster that you normally go into, M-Pin, he only negates the effects of attack monsters that were special summoned. So Malice is still in play. So if he goes into M-Pin right now, we're actually not really that scared. And he ends up going into M-Pin, which is fine. And for him not to combo into Ryzen, here you can say tributing the M-Pin should be fine. Would be kind of fine. He goes into strikes though, and he banishes his own monster. Goes into Toucan, gets his spell, right? Then he tributes both of them for Ryza. And then Ryza's going to bounce my Malice back to the top of my deck. And I actually get rid of Ryza because Ryza is one of the cards you want to get rid of immediately. Because they can keep chain linking it if they actually were good with the card. So he'll be able to bounce it back to his hand and start setting himself up to just permanently negate your draw. So now we have Eradicator Virus, which we can do right here. I was actually nervous that... because I don't think this guy used his normal summon yet. So I thought he was going to sacrifice his M-Pin and my back row for an M-Pin, which I think would have been the correct play. And then he just ends, attacks my token, yada yada. Guess what? The combo's starting now. We give this guy every token in the world. And that looks like a bad thing, but it's not. They only have usually around like 4 tributes in the whole deck. So you can lock your opponent out of this shit. Boom. We just destroyed. How many cards did we destroy? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, 4. Okay. We actually didn't destroy Book of Moon because remember Lord of Heavenly. So that was a misplay on my part. I activated Lord of Heavenly before me activating the card. Alright, so... you know what I kind of wish the game did, though? I kind of wish this game would... I wish that they would show, like, have the card... like, in just to give you an idea, in Magic the Gathering Arena, when a card is revealed, it's shown as revealed. So when you're looking at your opponent's hand, it'll show you the revealed cards that you're already seeing. I don't know why this game doesn't do that. It doesn't even show the cards in the side over here, which I think is kind of weird. But yeah, Baba Boom, goodbye. Epic Eradicator Virus is currently on the patrol. So this guy needs a top deck. He has 10 cards left in deck. This guy needs a top deck tribute cards. Otherwise, he's just locked out of this game now. We see that he has an England. Okay. That's cool, I guess. That's turn 3 on our Virus. Now I'm going to set the Lord of Heavenly Prison. We actually summoned the Lord of Heavenly Prison because we do this to continue the spell card shutdown, right? And the reason why we do that is because we're going to get our tributes back anyway as tokens. Like I said, look at my deck. Look at his deck. Because he has to... because since they can't run Pot of P, a lot of these decks are running Pot of Desires. So you win the deck out easy. There's no way you lose deck out. And anyone say, like, if you guys say in the comments, why would you even want to play this? It's so boring, blah, blah. Dude, this deck, it's not boring. This is funny as shit to do. We have the complete lockout. The complete lockout is having 1 Malice. Well, not the complete lockout. We need Darkest Diablo. But Malice is able to recycle all our epidemic viruses. So, it is pretty hilarious. We summon Lord. We're going to pop. We're going to pop spell cards again. Well, he's locked. We get to watch our opponent cry. We summon M-Pen. Kind of unfortunate, but we're still Gucci. I'm not even worried about this right now. We're going to get rid of their M-Pin. And then look, he's going to try and combo off. This is so funny to me, dude. tribute. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna actually get this off now. It's like, okay. Bum, bum, bum. You know why Empin's not summoning? Because he has no more cards. We destroyed all his spells. They're all in the graveyard. All his full Deriz cards are in the graveyard. What's he going to search? This is why. This is why this deck is insane. Look at this. He's locked out. He can't do anything. Ha! Goodbye. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out quite greatly, and we're always looking to improve because we're still pretty damn new to this. So any suggestions you guys have down below, please let me know. I would love to pick your brain about it. Now, for this deck performed phenomenally well. We had a 90% win rate, absolutely pub stomping everyone in the Extra Zero Festival. And how do we do it? As you've seen, Eradicator Epidemic Virus, aka the bird flu. That shit is going to send your opponent to the damn hospital. So try out the deck, especially if you got a lot of the cards already. The deck's relatively inexpensive unless you're looking at... Actually, it's a complete lie, because if you don't have the Liliths, you need at least one Darkest Diablo, and you need 3 Lord Heavenly Prisons, and I would say you need the Terraforming too, because the field spell is so important. So the deck's not that cheap, but it is a load of fun. I also play this in Standard. You can check that video out. I'll have it in the description. Not in the description. I'll have it somewhere over here at the end of the video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And please consider subscribing or giving me a follow, baby girl.